If a subthreshold stimulus is followed soon enough by a second subthreshold stimulus at the same electrode, together they can excite the fiber. If the second stimulus is applied before the V wave from the first one has died away, it can produce an impulse even though it would be too weak to do so alone. This is called temporal summation. A second stimulus applied too late may not excite, even though it is above the normal threshold. When the second stimulus is applied, the membrane has entered a depressed phase caused by the rising R wave. If the second stimulus is made still stronger, however, it does produce an impulse. In this experiment, the first stimulus produces an impulse. But the second one does not, no matter how strong it is. After the first impulse, the membrane is in the absolute refractory phase, caused by the R wave, which prevents excitation. If the second stimulus occurs a little later, it can excite the membrane. The reason is that the R wave has decreased enough to restore the excitability of the membrane, though not to its original level. A somewhat weaker second stimulus, which is still above the normal threshold, may fail to excite the membrane. Until the R wave disappears completely, the membrane is said to be in its relative refractory phase. If a stimulus is applied during the R wave of a single impulse, far from its site of origin, the result depends on the stimulus strength. Notice the slope of the R wave here. This stimulus produces an impulse which splits into two. The left one of the pair is slightly smaller than the right one, because R is somewhat greater at that point. With a slightly weaker stimulus, this effect is more pronounced. The left impulse of the pair disappears completely, and one-way propagation results. This stimulus lasts much longer than those used before. For very long stimuli, the threshold is called real base. Since this stimulus is below real base, it produces no impulse, but only small stationary V and R waves, which disappear after the end of the stimulus. With a stimulus slightly above real base, a single pair of impulses appears, but the R wave prevents further excitation. Shown at double speed, a still stronger stimulus produces impulses as long as the stimulus lasts. In a real fiber, the impulses may stop because of adaptation, which is not shown by these simple equations.